My name is Mahbuba Erdeshiva. I am academic and immigration advisor at Vancouver Island University. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I'm licensed to advise students on immigration matters. Now the process is that as soon as you get a letter of acceptance from Vancouver Island University, you need to apply as soon as possible for study permit application. So submit your application. How do you do that? It's very important that you will prepare your application very thoroughly. So if you have a lawyer or immigration consultant in your home country, try to get some help from them. If not, your parents may be able to help you. You need to prepare your financials, your letter of acceptance, your medicals, and a police certificate if you can get one. And then you need to apply. As soon as you submit your application online now, most applications are worldwide. You need to apply only online, not by paper, because of this pandemic. So once you apply online, the system itself gives you tips what kind of documents you need to submit. Depending on the country, your document list might change, but it's okay. As soon as you get that requirement, you have 60 days. When you start your application, you have 60 days to submit that application. Try to prepare all documentation thoroughly and submit your application online. Once you submit your application, Canadian government will review your study permit application in 2 stages. First stage, they call it eligibility criteria. If all your documents you submit meets the requirement and you haven't forgotten any important document like copies of your passport, then you will have the letter, special letter. They call it approval in principle. The letter literally says that so you are eligible to apply. Now await your biometrics letter. Now in the world, Canadian embassies and visa offices have resumed biometrics services. So just check that biometrics letter. Usually it will tell you when you have to submit your biometrics. Biometrics means your fingerprints, and then your photo. They will take that when you go there and they will ask a few questions. Once you submit that biometrics, within 2 weeks or 4 weeks, they will review your application completely for a study permit, and then you either get approval of your study permit or refusal of your study permit. If you get refusal, please don't panic, because you have still time to reapply. Make sure to read that refusal letter very, very carefully. That refusal letter usually tells you what was a concern, officer's concern that became grounds for the refusal. If it says, I don't believe that you're leaving Canada after finishing your studies because of your travel history. What does it mean, travel history? Travel history means if you traveled to another countries and came back to your home country. If you did, please try to find the proof that you traveled, and usually you will have in your passport stamps, from the countries, entry to United States and exited to United States. Make sure that you'll copy those travel stamps from your passport And next time when you reapply, address that officer's concerns. If they say, I don't believe that you have enough funds, and make sure you'll talk to your parents and they will show their assets and their income history, all those details, and provide that information to next time when you apply. Next time, in second time when you submit your application, it'll be a great idea if you take lawyer's service or immigration consultant service. Or if your parents helps you, then try to write it down, the explanation letter, that if you have enough, they say, we don't believe that you have enough funds, make sure that your parents could prove they have enough funds to sponsor your education in Canada. That way, you, in second attempt, you may get your study permit approved. If you get approval, which is awesome, right? Then you will start preparing your travel to Canada. So that's how you apply for study permit, and that's how you get your study permit approved or refused. Study permit, when you enter Canada physically with your letter of approval in your hand, in the airport, immigration officer will review and issue for you physical study permit. It's yellow, the Canadian government's document. And please make sure to read the details of that document. It's called study permit, and then it has your passport information and where you will be studying, and then conditions and remarks. It usually says you can get an employment in Canada if you meet the criteria. Then the criteria says you can work, you are eligible to work on or off campus, or it says you're eligible to work only on campus. If it says on campus, that means you cannot work anywhere but on campus. Usually they put that kind of authorization, restricted authorization for in study permits if you were enrolled through ESL, English as a Second Language program. In that case, you may not have on and off campus work permit. But if it says you are eligible to work in Canada on or off campus, then you're good. You can work on or off campus after your classes, only 20 hours. Please remember, you can, as an international student, when you're studying full time, you can work only 20 hours after your classes, because it's not possible for you to balance work, full-time work, and full-time studies. It's not possible. In one area, you will definitely fail. Usually, that will be studies. You will be failing your studies if you focus on too much on work. But if you're, let's say, Bachelor of Arts program student, you may not take any classes in summer and work full time with the same study permit. So let's say you're a Bachelor of Arts student and your summer vacation starts from May 1st to August 31st. You have four full months to earn good pocket money and offset some of your expenses and help your parents if you wanted to do that. But while you're studying, try to focus on your studies, because co-op work permit, they will not issue co-op work permit separately as a separate work permit. That's if your program has a practicum internship, then you will have, you need to apply for co-op work permit. So usually it comes employer in that work permit, employer that says Vancouver Island University, meaning that is not valid for all other jobs or off-campus job. When you apply for study permit, there is only one question in study permit application, question 6. Please check your letter of acceptance. If your letter of acceptance says you have practicum or a COP or internship, make sure that when you submit your application for study permit, tick that question 6, which asks, are you applying for work permit as well? Say yes, and then choose COP work permit. So for instance, if you're young student, your parent can accompany you on visitor visa. Visitor visa is usually valid for only 6 months. So make sure that your mom or dad will reapply, apply for extension after 6 months for visitor record. So, and your mom or dad may stay with you up to 1 year. So if then if they are eligible, they may apply for a work permit. Usually visitors are not able to get work permits in Canada. Foreign nationals cannot get easily work in Canada. But anyways, that's one of the options. If you are married, have a spouse, and you wanted to bring, yes, you can bring your spouse to Canada, and your spouse is eligible for open work permit while you're studying full-time at Vancouver Island University. If you have children as well, spouse and children, if your kids are young and young at ages, let's say 2, 3 to 17, 18, they can go to public schools for free. But if your son or daughter is a college or university student, they are not eligible to study for free. So you need to pay for them also international fees. If you graduate Vancouver Island University, if your studies was 2 years or more, and if you studied full-time, continuously full-time status at VIU is having 9 credits worth courses, which usually equals to 3 courses. If you studied continuously full-time and never took time off and completed your program successfully, you qualify for up to 3-year work permit. That's once in lifetime work permit called post-graduation work permit. When you get that work permit, if you work 1 year, you then may qualify for a permanent residency in Canada. But that job has to be a high-skilled job. Once you are enrolled at Vancouver Island University, and once you start your first semester at Vancouver Island University, you are most welcome to contact me as your advisor at mak.ergasheva, ERGASHEVA at viu.ca or advising.international@viu.ca. I'll be happy to answer your questions once you are enrolled at Vancouver Island University, starting from first semester when you will be eligible to our services.